Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here. Friday, February 7th, 2025. My name is Brian Engelman, and I'm broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. My name is Brian Engelman. This is the TNAM AM Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree show, here on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Today, we're going to be talking about all the things. There are so many things happening right now. I have never seen an administration move so decisively, so swiftly, in such an organized manner, but I'm here for it. I'm super excited for what we have seen out of the first couple of weeks of the Trump administration. And I'm telling everyone we are live so that they can join us on the different feeds. Hit like, hit subscribe, however you're finding us right now. And be sure to leave some comments. Your comments will be incorporated into today's program. That's the fun of it. Well, the fun of it is also unpacking the news. And that's what we do here on the New American Media. So let's go ahead and get started. Jump in whenever you can. I want this play. That's weird. See post. Yes. There we go. So here's this girl, 14-year-old female track athlete, telling her story.
Hi. I've never spoken to this many people, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited and really happy about this opportunity.
President Trump has ended the stuff she's about to tell you.
My name is Annalie Wilson, and I am 14 years old, and I am a freshman for the Eastmont School District. In May of this year, I ran in the Kashmir Junior Olympics. The Junior Olympics are a regional track meet for junior high athletes who place first or second throughout the track season. So it's a pretty big deal. It is basically the championships for our area. Sorry. I'm sure most of you have heard that at the Junior Olympics, I raced against a transgender athlete in the 1600 meter race. I had heard of this happening around our country, but I never expected to encounter it firsthand.
That part. You hear about stuff happening, but you're like, I don't have any experience with that. I don't know. It's just a tiny little portion of the population. What do you care? What do you care? First it's like, oh, that's not happening. No. That's happening. I've been reporting on it for 14 years. Obama and his people have been pushing this. Oh, that's not happening. Yeah, it's happening. Well, I mean, it's the right thing to do. No, it's not. Muscle mass, bone density. There's a whole laundry list. I don't have them all committed to memory, but come on. You don't need a laundry list to know why you've separated boys from girls to begin with in sports. They're not the same. 10 random boys, 10 random girls. It's not the same. That's why you have lady sports. What did Homer say? I pulled it up yesterday. Oh, Lisa, and if the Bible has taught us nothing, and it hasn't, it's that girls should stick to girly sports. Like, what do you say? Like foxy boxing and such and such? What was the exact quote? If the Bible has taught us nothing else, and it hasn't, there we go. It's that girls should stick to girls' sports, such as hot oil wrestling, foxy boxing, and such and such. That is from The Simpsons. But so they went from, no, this isn't happening. You're liars. You're just making shit up. Okay, cool story. This is happening. Yeah, well, it's the right thing to do. Huh? Yeah, because guys are girls now. No, it's still like if you're born how you're born, that's your biological advantage. If in sports, if your chromosome includes a Y in sports, you must compete with guys. That part. Well, why are you making such a big deal out of it? It's not like it's happening. It's not a big deal. There's just like a couple of things. Just let them play. You see MMA girls getting bashed brutally. Fallon Fox whooping on girls. You see that volleyball player? The dude jumps up and spikes it and blasts her head. I think she has permanent damage. I don't know if it's eyesight, concussion, migraines now. Like it messed this girl up. I mean, I guess if any guy hits a volleyball that hard into your face, like that would hurt. You see Riley Gaines. She won. Why didn't she win? She's competing against a dude. Well, that's not a dude. That's a girl. That's a dude. Born a dude. You can love who you love. You can dress how you dress. But in sports, stay out of the locker rooms if you're a dude. Compete against dudes. That's it. No mediocre males jumping in and trying to look at me. I'm first place against the girls. Well, you're not a girl, so don't do that. I don't know why society ever allowed this. Oh, with all the important things in the world, I can't believe you're focusing on this. Well, like this girl is saying, I saw this stuff in the news, but it didn't really impact me. I didn't really care about it. Well, guess what? One day it will. And we all have daughters, sisters, nieces, grandkids, family friends, church friends, neighbors. It's going to happen to people. You cannot let it go.
When all of the runners had lined up to race, I noticed that this athlete was built very differently than all of the other girls. But I didn't think much of it because we were on the starting line and we were about to race. It wasn't until we were on the podium that I heard the commotion of upset adults and kids. That is when I heard that the athlete that was standing next to me on the first place podium was a biological boy. My heart sank and I felt extremely discouraged.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I felt like all my hard work that I had put in throughout the year didn't matter and that it was just going to be forgotten. My family and I spoke up about how
Listen to her crying up there. She's having such a hard time getting through this. 14-year-old girl. She is struggling up there to find her words and keep her composure. If your heart doesn't break for this girl who had an opportunity taken away from her because of this, I don't know what else to tell you.
Unfair this was. We didn't speak up about how unfair this was because I didn't get first and didn't win. We spoke up because boys racing against girls at this level of competition isn't right and it isn't fair. All of those biological girls sitting up there next to me had worked just as hard as I had throughout the entire season. But at that moment, our hard work and talent did not matter. A coach on the transgender athletes team had heard my group of friends voicing their concerns and frustration about how unfair this was. They told my group of friends that if they were going to complain, they needed to go somewhere else and do it. Hearing this was devastating to me and my friends. It felt like we were being told to shut up, stop complaining, and just deal with it. And this is why I'm speaking up. Our female athlete voices need to be heard because we are the ones that this is personally affecting. Going through this experience has been incredibly hard. Adults have attacked my family and me for speaking up for fairness and protection of biological girls in sports. My family and I have been told by adults that we are transphobic, that I am a sore loser, and that I value winning more than a human life. We have also been told that it will be our fault and that we will be the ones responsible if this transgender athlete takes their life. And then I was told that I'm simply just not good.
They try to guilt people and shame people into speaking the obvious. Well, if somebody who's suffering from gender dysphoria disorder from the Diagnostic Statistical Manual 5 offs themselves, you're the one that did it. No, these people need to get assistance, guidance, counseling, help, therapy, to learn that it's okay to be born in the body that you're born in. You can love who you love, do your thing. There shouldn't be any harm that comes upon you for doing that. You can even dress the way you want to dress. You can't be in the girls' locker room and you can't compete against girls, but everything else is available to you. But it is a known condition. And to say that if somebody else wants to point out the obvious, they would be responsible if that person who's suffering through a mental health crisis, if they did something drastic, you'd be responsible? No, you wouldn't. I think enabling this type of mentality, trying to actually, yes, you know, kids play dress up all the time. I'm a unicorn. Yes, you are, sweetie. At some point, you playtime is over and you're not doing that. You work with the human because you have compassion for them. You don't encourage detrimental behavior. I don't know why. I'm looking into Chuck Schumer's wife, Barack Obama, his significant other, Emmanuel Macron. What is going on? And why is this being pushed on us? But for these people to say to these girls, if that boy who's trying to live his life as a girl does something to himself, it's your fault. That is the most disgusting guilt trip, shame salad I've ever heard. And the people saying stuff like that need to be called out for it. That is not this 14-year-old girl's problem. It is not this 14-year-old's problem that the man she's competing against is confused about who he is. That's not her fault. She didn't cause that. That person is going through something. Have they been groomed by society, groomed by teachers, groomed by pedos, groomed by weirdos? Are they legitimately just going through something? Or is there a social structure that's encouraging and confusing people who have not gone through puberty yet? They don't know who they are. They haven't experienced their body developing. And to say something like that to this girl, it would be your fault if they do something to themselves. No, it's not.
Good enough, and that's why I placed second.
And you weren't good enough. That's why you placed second. That's what they told Riley Gaines.
But I feel like the same people who are attacking female athletes for speaking up do not care about the mental tolls and struggles this is also taking on female athletes. These words have affected me, and it has hurt tremendously to hear all of these things because me and my family are some of the kindest people who strive to love everyone and do what is right. I have had severe anxiety and panic attacks as I have been trying to prove to those who say I am not good enough by training even harder. What hurts the most.
How do you listen to this and think that it's not a big deal what President Trump did to reverse this Obama era nonsense? It's the fact that we even have to have this conversation it's unfathomable. It really is. Do I have to really give a dissertation on why water is wet? I don't think we need to do that. But here we are.
Is that no matter how hard I train or how hard I push myself, the likelihood of beating a boy is slim. I have learned so much going through this experience. My biggest takeaway is that allowing boys to compete in girls' sports isn't working and it is not fair. It isn't fair and it isn't working for biological girls, and it isn't fair and it isn't working for transgender athletes. Thank you. No matter where you stand, failing to protect women's sports is wrong. So much hate and conflict has come from both sides. The things I have heard about this transgender athlete and me are awful and damaging. I am only 14 and I shouldn't have to deal with these kinds of adult issues. But here I am.
And that's the second part of what I'm saying about the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Gender Dysphoria. If you get to 18 years of age and you decide that you want to go through a genital mutilation surgery to try to take on the appearance closest to the opposite sex that you were born, I would highly discourage that personally, because I think losing your ability to have an orgasm is one of the worst things, one of the worst gifts you could take from yourself. It's one of the best feelings on earth, and why would you rob yourself of that? But if you so choose to, among 100 other reasons, if your piping is working, don't mess with it, is where I would kind of start. But if you get to 18 and you decide that you want to do this, I think you should have the right, just like you could get implants and lifts and injections and implant, whatever. You can do whatever you want, but that's something you have to pay for. That's nothing we need to be paying for. You can do anything you want at 18. Leave the kids out of it.
But here I am, speaking up, hoping that adults will step up and do what is right to protect and keep women's sports fair and safe for biological girls. I hope we can find a solution.
And I just trying to understand why we have to say biological girls. You can just say girls.
For all athletes to compete fairly and safely, because at 14 years old, even I can see that the current rules aren't working for biological girls or transgender athletes. Thank you.
Well, bravo to her. Bravo to her. I know that was a bit of a long clip, but I think it was an important clip. And I hear too many people saying it doesn't matter. It's not an issue that we should talk about. You hear all sorts of counter arguments to it, but there's really nothing else to say. What you need to say is that you protect girls in sports, period. In the locker room, on the playing field, period. All right, here's Marsha Blackburn. Check this one out from Barbaric Barbary. Check out Marsha Blackburn and what's about to happen.
That a large network of high-profile, high-dollar predators took part in this horrific abuse. That's why on the Senate Judiciary Committee...
Sorry, I don't think I prefaced it. This is about the Epstein logs. Marsha Blackburn has been fantastic on this issue.
I've repeatedly requested a subpoena for the complete unredacted Epstein flight logs from the FBI. I've also pushed for the release of Ghislaine Maxwell's unredacted little black book of contacts and addresses. The American people have the right to know who flew on his planes, who witnessed the crimes, and who potentially participated in his global sex trafficking ring. Yet time and again, in the last Congress, Democrat leadership and then FBI Director Wray stonewalled my request. Make no mistake, by blocking my request, they were delaying justice for Epstein's many victims. But now, with Republican control of Congress and President Trump back in the Oval Office, we're going to see some real change on this issue. Just last week, the president's excellent pick for FBI Director Kash Patel vowed to work with me in releasing the Epstein records and breaking apart the trafficking rings that harm countless women and children across our country. To be clear, this is not a celebrity issue. This is about ending modern-day slavery and finding out who is participating in these sex trafficking rings, and that a large network of high-profile...
So it's happening, people.
Oh,
and I'm pretty happy about it. This is shared from Magamart USA. Just here's a minute of Trump being funny, because remember, he's a stand-up comedian, but he's also crushing it. He's a business guy. He's got a plan, and this is the fastest 3 weeks of politics I may have ever seen.
Don, you're a little controversial. You're talking about illegal immigration. I said it's illegal.
That there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead.
The premiums are going through the roof. The deductibles, frankly, you have to get hit with a Komatsu tractor in order to use them. They're so high. We just spent $1 million building a soccer field. Okay? A soccer field for our prisoners that happen to be in Guantanamo. Okay? I don't like that. What do you need $1 million for? Level out the surface. Let them play. The Iranians are great negotiators. The Persians are great negotiators. And we have people that are babies. It's like a chess player, grandmaster, playing against a checkers child. No, that's what it is. We give them, think of it, a nuclear scientist, and they won't give us our hostages back. It's so insane.
Oh, Don, you're a little...
It really is. It is insane. And it's just President Trump. It just took somebody frustrated enough to actually run for the position. Well, sir, I say, sir. Hey, there he is. There's Kenneth. What's up, dude? Kenneth, I did stand up last night. I tightened up my set from the other day. I posted it in TNAM Humor and the Unhappy Hour on Facebook if you want to watch it. I'll gladly take your notes. You said, sir, I say, sir, like foghorn leghorn. I did a Trump yesterday. It wasn't my best Trump. I don't think I started with sir. But I did improvise kind of something real quick. Well, anyway, you'll see if you want to check it out. This is from Redheaded Libertarian saying, President Trump, Elon Musk will head up a government efficiency department, September 5th, 2024. 30 states, every swing state, 74 million voters, and the popular vote. Cool. The libs. No one voted for this. No one voted for this. That's what they're yelling because Doge is being successful right now. Think about it. This one from Republican Pride USA, Robert F. Kennedy. 5 states. Is this true? Let me make sure this is true. States suing Pfizer. Is this a real story? Office of the Attorney General. Yeah. The Rio Times Office of the Attorney General, Ken Paxton. Let me share this. Ken Paxton continues a lawsuit against Pfizer for knowingly misrepresenting the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccine. This is out of Ken Paxton, Attorney General of Texas's office. But where are the other states? Multiple states. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach. Okay, so Kansas, multiple states. Where are they at? I just want to, multiple states. Come on. Article from Rio Times Online. Oh, there we go. They alleged Pfizer exaggerated the vaccine's effectiveness. Utah, Mississippi, Louisiana also joined Kansas. So is this correct here? What I had on Yeah, this appears to be pretty darn close. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. 5 states, Texas, Utah, Kansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, are suing Pfizer for knowing and concealing the vaccine causing myocarditis, pericarditis, failed pregnancies and deaths, and misrepresenting the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccine. That's 10% of U.S. states, and the tide is turning. So we'll say, great, now prosecute Fauci. Find a way. Go get him for what he's done to us. Here you go. I think the loudness makes it hilarious. You get it. It's a bunch of shrieking. But Liz Churchill says this is through Painted Treasures by Chelsea on Instagram. By the way, make sure you're following the New American Media on Instagram. Our feed is pretty cool. That's where we get our TNAM AM content. It works really well. It's a little disjointed, but so is life when you're scrolling. Liz Churchill says, meet the USA to outrage senators. So cringe. Ilhan Omar, let's go into her immigration story with her brother. We might be able to deport her, actually. If that story about them committing fraud, pretending to marry her brother, that should be grounds to get rid of both of them. But yeah, 0 California outrage, 0 Hawaii outrage, 0 North Carolina outrage, but they're outraged at USAID. The comment here is, seeing the taxpayer-funded paper trail leading directly to the corruption that funded their echo chamber of lies is so validating to all of us who have ever been labeled conspiracy theorists. We knew all along. Seeing the depths of waste and fraud being exposed at what feels like the speed of light is incredible. Just wait till they get to the Medicare, military, EPA, and others. Everyone screaming about it is part of it. Now seize their assets, drain their bank accounts, lock them up, or better yet, deport them. Better yet, I'll add, you find the treasonous activities and you prosecute them for treason. And I think you actually enact the penalty for the worst cases amongst those. Yeah, then cut us a check for what they stole. They're a bunch of pirates. We commented on this story here. This is Caroline Leavitt, such a breath of fresh air in the White House press room. We said we demand reparations, and we're not kidding. Here we go. Caroline Leavitt. This is shared from Asher Press.
Coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now.
How critical is government funding to Politico's bottom line? Not sure. But on the day of the freeze, they couldn't make payroll for a couple hours. It's not just Politico. The New York Times got millions. BBC got money. PolitiFact was funded by the Biden administration. Biden was censoring you and funding independent fact checkers to call you a liar. Kamala took your money and paid Sharpton. Biden took your money, gave it to Politico, gave it to donors to build solar panels. The left somehow looks like one big astroturfed money laundering shell game.
So upon...
Because it is. If it looks that way, it's because it is that way. Kenneth, I think I could do improve or improv. Yeah, Caroline Leavitt. Caroline, I love it. I do. Okay, Kenneth watched some. All right. Well, yeah, I did a 7-minute set, like 6.5 minutes maybe yesterday. Always eager to get your thoughts. It's been fun. This is the first week of doing stand-up. I've always wanted to, and now it's just, am I going to put the effort in to continue the grind, to continue doing it? It's a whole pattern. It's a routine. It's a rhythm. And if I love it, I'll do it. And if we'll just go from there. This is shared from Being a Libertarian. It turns out that U.S. aid has hurt the U.S. Why were we funding things to damage the U.S.? Because of Barack Hussein Obama, who hates America, hates Americans, and he's been working with people to plunder all of our resources like a pirate to feast off the carcass of America, both Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama, of course, Biden. These people existed only to steal as much money as they can and enrich the people that were helping them with their political careers. So Kaizen D. Isadu says, it turns out U.S. aid has hurt the U.S. The Department of Education hasn't improved education. The NIH pushed vaccines to cure a virus that they funded. The Department of Defense has been on offense, starting endless wars. The Department of Justice has been creating injustice. That's well said. Who is this here? Senator Eric Schmidt breaking down some of the insane spending shared from Snowflake News.
Because you can't really defend this kind of stuff. $45 million for diversity and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $3 million for girl-centered climate action in Brazil. $125 million to racialize public health. $288,000 for diverse birdwatcher groups. USAID, which is in the center of the storm right now, and rightfully so, spent $1.5 billion to, quote, advance diversity, equity, inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. $70,000 for the production of a DEI musical in Ireland. $2.5 billion for electric vehicles for Vietnam. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Columbia. Not Columbia, Missouri, or Columbia, South Carolina, the country of Colombia. $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. This is what they're mad about. Because
this is what we should all be mad about. We should all be furious at this. It's theft and waste. We should be furious about it. Joey Mugnat says, don't blame Elon for dismantling the government through Doge. Blame Joe Biden for showing us how necessary it was to do so. We had a president with devastating dementia for 4 years. We gave Ukraine $200 billion for who knows what exactly. And in fiscal year 2023 alone, Congress appropriated $43.4 billion to U.S. aid. All this could only happen if something was horribly wrong with our government. But you know what? The best way to know who's doing the right thing is to pay attention to who's crying about it. When it's AOC, Schumer, and Maxine Waters, we can be sure that we're on the right side. It's well said. It's got this music. Doggone it. I want to play this.
Did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry.
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought. Why do you think you or anyone else at Twitter had the medical expertise to censor a doctor's expert opinion?
You didn't go to medical school.
Our policies regarding COVID were designed to protect individuals. We were seeing...
You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors, Stanford-educated doctors, doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silenced those voices.
They have no right to silence those voices or our voices. It's not up to you to determine what you think is right. You're a platform. If you're not a platform, then you're a publisher, and you're the provisions that protect you under Section 230 don't exist. We were doing the research. We were investigating all of the situations starting from 2019 forward. In Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, Twitter, all being coerced by the deep state to silence the facts that Fauci funded this, that it was released intentionally from the Wuhan lab. I think it was intentional. You can't prove this was an accident, so you can't tell me I'm not allowed to say it's intentional. You're damn right it was intentional. I like Nancy Mace. She's good for doing this. This is an older clip, but it's just, we cannot forget where we escaped from.
The U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to pressure Twitter to moderate or censor certain tweets? Yes or no?
We have a program.
Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to censor or moderate certain tweets? Yes or no?
We receive legal demands to remove content from the platform from the U.S. government. And
U.S. government making legal demands to strip content from the new American media, from other people like us who were trying to figure out what was happening, and they wouldn't allow us to have conversations, to publish research, to point out actual facts while they were lying to us. We have been paying people in U.S. aid, people in this fake media being propped up by U.S. aid, stealing tax dollars, the CIA front group, CIA aid, U.S. aid, propping up Politico. What'd they say? New York Times, BBC, all sorts of these fake news sites pushing fake stories to try to silence people who were in opposition to lockdowns, mask mandates, forced injections. Yeah. This was straight out of a 1984 novel from George Orwell.
governments all around the world, those are published on a third-party website, and anyone can read.
Thank God for Matt Taibbi. Thank God for Elon Musk for allowing to show us in the world that Twitter was basically a subsidiary of the FBI, censoring real medical voices with real expertise that put real Americans' lives in danger.
It did. It put all of us in danger. I'm glad that it's coming out. $10 million to the Stained Underwear Alliance. MSM in a good way in your future, Brian. What does that mean? MSM in a good way in your future, Brian. MSM is mainstream media. I don't call them mainstream. I call them lying legacy media. This is shared from Snowflake Tears. Are you kidding me? Someone leaked ICE's plan to the Tren de Aragua gang before their operations in Aurora?
So many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal to get help from the people in the streets? I know they can protest, but that's not what they're doing.
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon. So working with DOJ on that, get some legal guidance on that. I'm not an attorney. I know what SecOps is about. I know what crossing that line is, but getting DOJ back up on that. So it's something we're looking at right now, Harris. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. This is not a game. When we show up these sites, this is a dangerous job for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and all the DOJ agencies. To have that type of interference puts our officers at great risk. Not only the officers, it puts the aliens at great risk, because anything...
And anybody in the community. If this turns into some wild shootout, now everybody's in danger.
It's going to happen when we take our eyes off the goal here. So we're addressing that immediately today. I'm addressing OPSEC today, operational security, how these leaks are happening. We've already identified how this operation got leaked. I'll deal with that today.
I have so many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these...
Yeah. That's a disturbing story. According to Gentry Gevers, I don't know how to say this guy's name. Does anyone know Gentry Gevers? Saying, according to the U.S. debt clock, Doge has saved U.S. taxpayers $64 billion, and it's only been 17 days. So this is huge. President Trump, he is the common sense president. Plastic straws, we'll get to that in a second. Sealing the borders, fixing North Carolina. You just go down the list and he's doing common sense stuff. And I'm all here for it. This is Caroline Leavitt laying out President Trump's tax priorities, calling it, quote, the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. This shared from Charlie Kirk, 1776 on Instagram.
So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap. Eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners. Close the carried interest tax deduction loophole. Tax cuts for Made in America products. This,
by the way, man, there's a lot to unpack there. No tax on tips. I mean, come on. This has been so stupidly overdue for a long time. No tax on Social Security. Why are you paying tax on the Social Security money? That's insane. You get benefits, you should get Social Security. What are you paying taxes on that for? This is nuts. You don't get to rob us this much. You cannot rob a human being this much. No tax on overtime pay? Hell yeah. You know what that does? That encourages people to work overtime. You know who works overtime? People that need the extra income. People that are talented enough to be given the opportunity to work a little bit more and make a little bit more. And it encourages the workforce to stick around and do a little extra heavy lifting when you, make a phone call, try to speak to a human, go to a store and try to get some service. It is hard to find people working anywhere. It just sort of feels like every industry is understaffed. But if you make it to the point where like, dude, not only is overtime going to be time and a half or double time, bro, that's a special subcategory that they don't take 40% of taxes out. People are going to be hustling, man, and it's going to be a big boom for the economy. If you encourage people to work, you're going to encourage production and output. Renewing the 2017 Trump tax cuts. I'm not familiar with the SALT. What is that, SALT cap? I can't.
This will be the
SALT cap. Eliminating special breaks for billionaire sports team owners. Holy crap, that's a huge one. All the sports team owners that are getting away with all sorts of tax benefits. That's huge. I wonder how much of that is because the NFL wouldn't let Donald Trump own a team. Remember, he ended up buying a team in the USFL instead. They wouldn't let him buy. What was he trying to buy? The Jets or the Giants or something? But either way, every time people are talking about a new stadium and a new development for a new city, it's always like, well, why doesn't the billionaire owner pay for it? They're getting all these tax breaks. You let them do it. And by the way, why is an owner in charge of a city's sports team? The city should be in charge of it. You should have a local board of directors, and you should have all of the city residents be the shareholders, just like Green Bay, Wisconsin. Can we do away with private ownership of sports teams? They belong to the city. I don't like that people can get up and move. Okay, so Kenneth is saying, I will become the mainstream media. I will myself. Okay. I think that's what I thought you were saying. I was just trying to double check, and I'm reading something and setting up the next story. So, yeah, look at me. I am the media now. I am the media now. By the way, check out our show last night with Mike Barra and Jim Mitchell, Strictly Football, talking about the Super Bowl and changing the end racism signs that are painted in the end zones in the NFL, and talking about Myles Garrett and LeBron James and what's going on there, demanding a trade. Tax cuts if you're buying made in America products. That's an awesome one. And closing the carried interest loophole. All right.
The largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done. So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members.
I'm loving it. Loving it. Did Donald Trump share this? Elon Musk. What is this? Fire. Oh, this is a thread. Mike Ben says, damn right I was spawned out of U.S. aid. That's Liz Cheney saying this. Liz Cheney goes, damn right, Elon. I'm proud of what America did to win the Cold War, defeat Soviet communism, and defend democracy. Defend democracy? You put on a sham trial to throw out President Trump, to frame him, to ruin him, because you and your oligarch buddies want to keep running America into the ground, plundering every last ounce of treasure from this nation. Screw you, Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney continues, our nation stood for freedom. You may be unfamiliar with that part of our history since you weren't yet an American citizen. Wow. Going hard at Elon. Mike Ben says, Liz Cheney, who led Trump's impeachment and the mass imprisonment campaign against thousands of Trump supporters, was spawned out of U.S. aid. Cheney previously served as a U.S. aid officer. Impositions related to Poland, Hungary, Russia, and Ukraine. Mike Benz, it's worth noting Liz Cheney didn't just work at USAID. She worked specifically on the Russia-Ukraine portfolio at USAID. And when I talk about the Seize Eurasia side of the blob and its motivations for taking out Trump with Russiagate, you're looking at the face of it. Remember, it was the same USAID portfolio around Ukraine, Russia, that paid its own mercenary media group with U.S. taxpayer money to essentially write hit pieces for hire and to dig up dirt on Rudy Giuliani, leading to the impeachment of Trump over Ukraine. Russia matters. Wow. Hit pieces for hire, dig up dirt on Rudy, leading to the impeachment of Trump over Ukraine. Because Trump was exposing the fraud in Ukraine and you couldn't handle it, so you impeached him for doing what Doge is doing. Don't do what Donnie Don't does. They could have made this more clear. Why did USAID pay $20 million to hit piece journalists to dig up dirt on Rudy Giuliani and use that dirt as the basis to impeach the sitting president in 2019? So, Mike Benz, I've been telling you guys forever that you've been living your whole life in a carefully constructed USAID Truman Show, where none of the institutions you meet, from the media to public health to universities to NGOs to terrorists, are the institutions that you think they are. Man, that's a good voice to have in our media right now. Oh, I guess I'll scroll through because I did hit some of these individually. You know, I wonder about the origin story. You see Trump sitting there at the correspondence dinner with Barack Obama, and he started making fun of President Trump, and they said, that right there, that's the moment. That was the moment that President Trump decided, I'm running for president. I'm going to go take that job. I'm going to do it. Alan, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining us. Alan saying, Cash still has not got out of committee. Who is playing games? This looks like the FBI. Looks like they're giving the FBI time to burn their records. So what is the latest with Cash? They're holding it up? Oh, I mean, they damn well better be terrified of Cash. But he better be confirmed. This is what we voted for. This is exactly what the people have said. This needs to happen. You all are treasonous against us. It's not just that you're doing something or not doing something. You are actively subverting the will of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the American people. Put you on blast. We've caught your treason. Alice in chains, Liz in chains. But yeah, they're wondering, is Elon, look, Elon was happy tinkering with rockets in electric cars in Democrat-controlled California, but then they tried to stop him from working during COVID. Errol Weber US is sharing this. I got to be careful about the music. Some music, I'll just mute it. Lorena Gonzalez says, F Elon Musk, and he says, message received. And now he's dismantling the entire deep state as a side hustle. Has a single tweet ever backfired so hard? Okay, that's another compilation of these Democrats yelling, and here's Elon doing his dance. I just don't want to play it because I feel like they're going to add a stupid copyright claim to it. But yeah, I mean, geez, Elon Musk is kind of living his best life. He's getting a lot of good things done, I'll tell you that much. Very grateful. As we all should be. Was this the moment everything changed? This is pretty good. When a celebrity cries to get attention. This is from Key and Peele. Shared from Keck Political. Oh, Selena Gomez, you outed yourself by reading the script. Oh, this had me laughing so hard yesterday. This had me laughing so hard. I had to send a message to the person that shared this and just thank them. Wow, Rumble's being weird right now. I'm trying to watch my feed, but it's showing the very beginning of the show. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I had to leave them a voicemail because I was just laughing so hard at this one. Shared from Operation Butthurt. This is politicians in D.C. today. And either this is the little baby pointing at USAID. Give me USAID or else. No. 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 That's so good. Dems crying because they don't get their USAID. Yeah, you got to watch that with your sound up. God, that's funny to me. Maybe it's not funny, but it's funny to me.
You know,
this is from Media Research Center. Representative Brandon Gill talking about where our money is going. And listen to what the CNN clown says as a response.
My constituents are more focused than ever on our federal debt and our federal deficit, which is a result of Biden-level spending. They want to right-size the federal government, and they want to get rid of left-wing activism. We're spending, for example, over $500 million every single year to fund state-sponsored media like NPR and PBS to promote left-wing values that are utterly antithetical to the American experience. Yes. That is a problem. That is what my constituents are focused on.
It's journalism. But you know, we can agree to disagree on that. I don't want to get into a tit for tat on that.
Don't use the name of my show there, the Agree to Disagree show. Make sure you've followed it on Spotify, trying to boost those numbers over there. Trying to boost the numbers on Rumble. That's where we're monetized. Make sure you follow the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show there. This was crazy. She jumped in immediately trying to say that's journalism. I'm going to watch this a second time. This is a wild clip. No. Left-wing values are utterly antithetical to the American experience. That's not journalism. That's crazy backward propaganda.
You know, my constituents are more focused than ever on our federal debt and our federal deficit, which is a result of Biden-level spending. They want to right-size the federal government, and they want to get rid of left-wing activism. We're spending, for example, over $500 million every single year to fund state-sponsored media like NPR and PBS to promote left-wing values that are utterly antithetical to the American experience. That is a problem. That is what my constituents are focused on.
It's journalism. But you know, we can agree to disagree on that. I don't want to get into a tit for tat on that.
It's journalism. It's not journalism. It's propaganda that is meant to destroy the lives of Americans, while the pirates continue to plunder. There's our comment there. I'm trying to leave some breadcrumbs on these video posts as I find them. Clandestine, that's an account you need to follow, shared from Revelation Road here. Elon just proved that the Matrix is real. Doge just confirmed we are living in an Orwellian dystopia. The media is funded and controlled by the left-wing globalists, using our tax dollars, and they have been brainwashing the planet for decades. We live on a foundation of lies. See, I wish I could constrain the chat overlay a little bit. Because when I go side by side, it clips off just the side here, just enough to make it not work. And then I could go up and down. Maybe up and down is the only way here. All right, I'll try up and down. I just wish I could. There's only so many configurations I can try. All right, we'll try that one. Do lame ducks have an injured left wing? Yeah, Kenneth, I did the right wing, left wing joke yesterday on the YouTube clip that I put on TNAM Humor. If you want to check it out. I think I did it better than I did it on Tuesday. It's still an iffy joke. It's still kind of like, whoa, out of left field. This being shared by Being Libertarian. Oren McIntyre says, Americans are slowly discovering that the reason leftist media outlets don't go bankrupt is that they are just funded by our tax dollars. I have been confused as to how any Democrat has been elected in the past 40 years. I have been confused as to how these left-wing rags don't go completely out of business. I have been baffled. We are not a 50-50 country. We never have been. 75-25 maybe. 65-35 if there's a compelling reason to balance it out. We are not a 50-50 nation. That's one of the biggest lies that they've ever told you, is that, oh, things are razor close. No, they're not. Pass the SAVE Act. Ban the illegals from voting. Watch what happens. Nobody's voting Democrat. Nobody's buying their rags. Nobody's believing their bullshit. Defund these clowns pushing their anti-American garbage and restore the country. That's what I say. Was that this one again? Okay, it's weird. It's not populating. Let me go to the next one. Hillary Clinton. This is great. Hillary says U.S. airlines had gone 16 years without fatal crashes. Then MAGA fired the FAA chief, gutted the Aviation Security Advisory Committee, and threatened air traffic controllers with layoffs. Now there have been 2 fatal crashes. Hope your unvetted 22-year-olds fix things fast. I'm going to say Hillary, the root of America's problems. Her and Barry. Secretary Sean Duffy responds and says, Madam Secretary, with all due respect, experienced Washington bureaucracies are the reason our nation's infrastructure is crumbling. You need to sit this one out. Secretary Sean Duffy continues, this shared from D and Fringe, an account you should follow. I know you're lashing out because Doge is uncovering your family's obscene grifting via USAID, but I won't let you lie and distort facts. The FAA administrator announced that he resigned over a month before Trump took office, and the air traffic controllers were always exempt from Trump's civil service buyouts. The previous administration shamelessly used U.S. Department of Transportation as a slush fund for the Green New scam, throwing away money and resources on wasteful environmental and social justice projects rather than updating our nation's antiquated air traffic control systems and other critical infrastructure. I'm returning this department to its mission of safety by using innovative technology in transportation and infrastructure. Your team had its chance and failed. We're moving on without you because the American people want us to make America's transportation system great again. And yes, we're bringing the 22-year-olds with us. Oh, geez. Sean Duffy's daughter, Avita Duffy Alfonso. Actually, I'm going to give this person a follow. What is it? What is it? Avita Duffy Alfonso. Oh, wait. She's with Bongino? Is that who this is? I've seen this person before. Okay. Yeah, she does a show with Dan Bongino or something. Okay. Well, now I'm following that person. I just kind of liked how that was put together, and I want to stay on top of this story because she says, just a PSA, my dad would never commit suicide. Let me add the fact that Avita needed to drop that disclaimer is all the evidence we need that a demonic force has been ruining America for decades. Justice is finally on the way. Okay. I didn't know that's who that was. She does the thing with Dan Bongino. I don't even. This is from Aaron Friedman. I'm just going to let this clip speak for itself.
Breaking news, Donald Trump is fixing the obesity epidemic already. Look at this. This is from Olivia. I'm actually down 50 pounds because I can't afford to eat in Trump's economy. Sad face. This is her face for reference. Yep, Trump is already getting people into shape. That's the first thing. But second, I mean, you lost 50 pounds in 1 week? Holy shit, man. We are really making America great again. Breaking news, Donald Trump is fixing the...
I mean, how do you even... Yeah, she didn't lose 50 pounds in a week. Didn't lose that in a month. Come on. But it's just silly stuff. Speaking of silly... Oh, this page isn't available? What happened? No! Oh, they just got rid of that page. That's weird. Okay. Derek Evans says U.S. aid is less than 1% of the federal budget. Look how much fraud and waste has been found in this one tiny piece of the budget. Now imagine how bad it is for the rest of it. Now imagine how bad the rest of it is. That's what I meant to say. Hey, look how giddy you are. Yay! Federal workers are getting fired for refusing the vaccine. Remember when that happened? Uh-oh. But federal workers getting fired for wasting tax dollars. Shared from Tim Runs His Mouth. Perfect meme. That is fantastic. Number one reason to shut USAID down. USAID funneled money to BLM, which was the funding of the destruction of our cities in 2020 when the Democrats and their fake news media, paid for by USAID, was promoting all of these warped fever dreams to try to convince as many people as possible that America was a horrible place, twisting data points, telling lies, and trying to encourage this all across the country because they thought it would be a cover to hurt Donald Trump's reelection. Remember when the USAID funded the destruction of our cities through all of their country? Because once again, USAID has been a front for the CIA now, running covert operations under the direction of Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden, to destroy this country. It's painfully obvious what's been happening. They've been stealing from us to destroy us. And that's stopping, which is why you're seeing that. Shared from Revolution Road. By the way, I actually don't know where this video is from. This could be from Maui or Los Angeles for all I know. But the point remains, they're stealing our money to give it to groups that are burning our country. That's called a coup. That's called a color revolution. That's called an overthrow. That's called treason. And remember, when Kyle Rittenhouse tried to burn in the city where he works down, they went after him. This is a different press conference, I think. So this appears to be inside. But I think she's talking about the same group of things that she was on the outside press conference. But it's all right. It's one of the top stories. Donald Trump is our common sense president. In case you need a reminder of what you need to tell your friends, someone posts something ignorant on Facebook or X or in real life and you're having a conversation, try to remember these next few things that the Trump administration is doing to revise middle-class taxes, to reduce inflation, increase the spending power of your dollar.
These are the tax priorities of the Trump administration
I have no problem repeating this 25-second clip
that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap, eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners, close the carried interest tax deduction loophole, tax cuts for Made in America products. This will be the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done.
Yep, there you go.
So
that's worth hearing a second time. What a great day for America, our common sense president.
The CIA, USA.
What did I say here? It is all finally crumbled. We've defeated them. Now, I'm not really saying we've defeated them, but yes, we have. Yes, we have.
CIA, USAID, and OCCRP were all involved in.
This is Michael Schellenberger, by the way. You should follow him as well.
In the impeachment of President Trump in ways similar to the regime change operations that all three organizations engage in abroad. The difference here is that it is highly illegal and even treasonous for CIA, USAID, and its contractors and intermediaries, often called cutouts, to interfere in U.S. politics in this way. In response to questions that we sent to OCCRP, it threatened to file a lawsuit against us. The premise of your article is factually false and defamatory, wrote Miranda Petrusik, the editor-in-chief of OCCRP, in an email to us. The claim by Dropsite News and partner media that USAID has control over editorial appointments has been disproven, she wrote, and we suggest you read our response to that. But neither OCCRP nor anyone else has disproved Dropsite's allegations, and Dropsite stands by them.
I'm going to let this go because Schellenberger is one of the voices you want to really absorb in these conversations.
And the evidence does not support OCCRP's claim of journalistic independence. On the website, Petrusik links to a screenshot from OCCRP's own agreement with USAID states requests for approval of new key personnel shall include A, written justification, and B, CV, curriculum vitae in English. Key personnel positions, candidates, and changes to such personnel will require concurrence from the AOR or the agreement officer's representative and approval from the AO, the agreement official. OCCRP claims on its website that USAID's oversight of OCCRP is not what it appears to be. This represents a serious misunderstanding of a common procurement procedure, they write. This person or persons, referred to as the grant's key personnel, ensures that the money we get is spent appropriately and that the work gets done. This is not an editorial role, but a logistical one. But there is nothing in that agreement that suggests that USAID's approval of OCCRP's work plan and its senior staff are somehow unimportant to the editorial content produced by OCCRP. Indeed, USAID's Shannon McGuire emphasizes in the NDR documentary that USAID controls OCCRP through what is known as a substantial involvement clause.
There's a substantial involvement clause in a cooperative agreement. So specifically for this cooperative agreement with OCCRP, it's things like reviewing and approving an annual work plan. There's key personnel.
Sullivan confirmed this.
Under cooperative agreements, which we don't like to take, that they have, a say on who the people are. But they can veto somebody.
Petrusik told Public, I am the editor-in-chief of OCCRP and was appointed during a USAID grant, but my CV was never sent to USAID and no approval was sought or received. OCCRP is governed only by its board of directors and no one else. But a second USAID official, Mike Henning, confirmed to the NDR filmmakers that USAID's approval is not just for logistical or administrative functions.
So it has some strings attached. A cooperative agreement has more strings attached, let's say, than a grant.
Samantha Power, then the head of USAID, said in November 2021 that OCCRP was a major partner of the U.S. government. Under its strengthening transparency and accountability through investigative reporting, or STARE program, USAID allocated $20 million to OCCRP to go from September 22nd to September 2027 to support investigative journalism in Europe and Eurasia. Indeed, as the NDR reporter notes,
I mean, if you look at the Foreign Assistance Act, it says several times in there that the funds should be used to advance American foreign policy.
Dropsite also found that in May 2024...
All right, look, this just keeps going on. He's a good investigative researcher, Michael Schellenberger. But this is a bit of a longer segment. It is 5 minutes. I'm not going to let it keep going. It's a lot of... Yeah, it's a lot. Let's listen to the Sean Ryan show here. Lindy Lee on Hunter Biden's laptop in the rigged 2020 election. Yeah, this comment, I want to believe everything she said, but something doesn't sit right with me. Agreed. I was really excited, but I didn't finish because it's all things we already know, and it's convenient time for her to be speaking out with. She looks very sickly, like dangerously skinny, like not good.
Hunter Biden laptop story. I don't think the 2020 election was stolen, but I think it was rigged.
How do you think it was rigged?
Because the Hunter Biden laptop story was real as fuck. It was real. It wasn't Russian disinformation. The intelligence community lied. I actually know Tulsi. She is right to question the conclusions of the intelligence community because these are the same.
I just see these arms and it's scary. Like, yeah, you could have flabby arms and that's scary too, but really skinny arms like that, I just it's screaming like malnourished or I don't know. I don't know this girl and I'm not trying to bash her. I just that would like my first reaction was, oh no, is she okay? She needs a little meat on the bones. Not relevant to what she's saying. That was my thought.
People who told us that the Hunter Biden laptop story was fake. And you have people like Anthony Blinken lying on behalf of his boss. So it may not have been stolen, but it was rigged because that story should have gone out. The New York Post shouldn't have been censored. People on social media, people on Facebook, and
we got destroyed for sharing that stuff. Oh, anytime you shared a Hunter Biden pic, they slapped you with something saying that you're encouraging what did they say? Something like harmful sexual content. It was that Hunter Biden picture in his tighty whities doing his little dance. Oh, they blasted that story. My content has been so deranked and shadow banned and deboosted. Really, up until 2 years ago when Blake kind of came back and was like, "Hey man, thinking maybe we should start a show or something and do it again." And I'm like, what's the point? What's the point? Nobody sees my shit. It takes more than a couple minutes to do this. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of core understanding that you have to know in order to be able to kind of unpack these stories in a way that provides some sort of value or entertainment value or educational value. And I was just kind of like, well, what's the point? Why would I? Oh, yeah, I want to create more content so that I can become unemployable to people that will actually pay my bills. That's a great business strategy. But I'm doing it. And I'm back in it. And I'm glad I am. But yeah, every time there's certain stories we would talk about and they would smack us down. Oh, they love smacking us down. Samantha Powers, the Obama fixer. Man, the whole house of cards. Let's bring the whole house of cards down, please.
Twitter at that time. They should have been able to spread that story. I'm sorry that I bought into it. I know Joe, okay? I'm sorry if you think I'm nuts, but a part of me still is going to love him for the rest of my life because of the kindness that he's shown to me, but now I know he's corrupt. The Hunter Biden laptop.
All right. John Lefevre says from Ultra Garbaggio, and Garbaggio's final form, says, John Lefevre says, you paid for this. U.S. aid funneled $27 million to Black Lives Matter through the Tides Foundation. And you wondered, why is the Tides Foundation so flush with cash? Who's paying the Tides Foundation to destroy America? Why is Soros destroying America? Why is the Tides Foundation and Soros destroying America? It's because the embedded traitors of the CIA running U.S. aid are funding groups like this, domestic terror organizations, BLM, to burn America down in the summer of love, 2020. The Democrats, Kamala Harris, front and center, starting the Minnesota Freedom Fund and recommending that we go ahead and bail the rioters out. You know, you got the brown shirts creating some good chaos, or what are they, good protest or good trouble. Never forget what these people did to you, and there have to be repercussions, ramifications, penalties for the people that have participated in this. There simply must be indictments for this domestic terrorism plot. All right, there you go. Here's U.S. aid. Did I play this clip earlier, or is this a different one? Jesse Waters. Let's see.
Wrong. 122 million of the USAID money was given to terrorists.
We're literally paying the terrorists. That's what Obama was doing with ISIS. ISIL. John McCain, Lindsey Graham, the same cast of characters. We're paying to create murderous tyrants, terrorists causing chaos with the money they stole from us. Oh my God.
The Taliban is taxpayer funded. So is the Wuhan lab. So we're on a roll. The people spending the money can't even tell you why they're spending the money.
USAID awarded $2 million to strengthen trans-led organizations to deliver gender-affirming health care in Guatemala. So to each of you this morning, does this advance the interests of American citizens paying for trannies in Guatemala to the tune of $2 million? Yes or no? Governor?
I have no position.
Of course you don't.
$2 million for sex changes in Guatemala? Despite the blatant waste and corruption, there's a sinister side to all of the gay, lesbian, and trans money we're funneling into other countries. It's subversive. It undermines their traditional culture, their religions, and their governing authority. It divides these countries.
Oh, yeah. Obama knows this. Macron, Obama, Trudeau, Chuck Schumer. Oh, yeah. This is the exact strategy for some reason. Who is deciding what the strategy is? Let's peel back the onion further. Go further up. Where is this coming from? Who is determining that this is the policy?
It distracts them and makes it easier for our government to exploit them. Wrong. 122 million of the U.S.
There we go. There's the beginning of it again. Nancy Mace. Happy to have you, Nancy Mace. This is Carl Higbee here. He has thoughts.
These agencies, they install their pals who then grant out money to friendly organizations like DAI Global LLC. Ever heard of them? Well, you should. They got 270.
I don't know if I can even play this clip because they're playing Money for Nothing in the background by Dire Straits.
Back to almost every single Democrat and Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham getting paid here.
Costing Dire Straits money for nothing on.
All right. Well, yeah, I can't have this taken down because of music. It is my plea that we can reform the copyright laws so that you don't smack copyright claims on mundane moments. I think they're just absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, PragerU sharing this from J.K. Rowling. This, why do you care about a tiny fraction of the population line is and always was utterly ridiculous. Gender ideology has undermined freedom of speech, scientific truth, gay rights, and women's and girls' safety, privacy, and dignity. It's also caused irreparable physical damage to vulnerable kids. Nobody voted for it. The vast majority of people disagree with it, yet it has been imposed top-down by politicians, healthcare bodies, academia, sections of the media, celebrities, and even the police. Its activists have threatened and enacted violence on those who've dared oppose it. People have been defamed and discriminated against for questioning it. Jobs have been lost and lives have been ruined, all for the crime of knowing that sex is real and it matters. J.K. Rowling continues. When the smoke clears, it will be only too evident that this was never about a so-called vulnerable minority, notwithstanding the fact that some very vulnerable people have been harmed. That's a great moment right there in writing. That is so well said. I'm going to read that one more time. Sometimes when you read an author, like outside of a book, you go, oh, they are a good writer. Okay, I like that. President Trump is a fantastic writer, by the way. I don't know that people really give him enough credit for his clarity, his humor, the way that he frames he's a very gifted communicator. J.K. Rowling says, when the smoke clears, it will be only too evident that this was never about a so-called vulnerable minority, notwithstanding the fact that some very vulnerable people have been harmed. Yes, a lot of good, vulnerable people have been caught up in this and destroyed by this. There are irreversible sterilization things that have been done. Unforgivable Frankenstein-like acts done to people who were not old enough to make that decision for themselves. When you're 18, you can do whatever it is that you want. I will not oppose your right to do what you want to yourself with your money. I will not get in the way of that. I encourage you to not remove your ability to orgasm for the rest of your life. I encourage you not to start chopping and slicing with functional plumbing. I encourage you not to mess with that. And if you strongly decide to, after you're 18 years old and you pay for it, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Leave the kids alone. J.K. Rowling continues, the power dynamics underpinning our society has been reinforced, not dismantled. The loudest voices throughout this entire fiasco have been people insulated from consequences by their wealth and or status. They aren't likely to find themselves locked in a prison cell with a 6'4" rapist who's decided his name's now Dolores. They don't need state-funded rape crisis centers, nor do they ever frequent high street changing rooms. They simper from talk show sofas. Simper. I don't know what simper means. Is it wine? Smile in an affectedly coy or ingratiating manner. She's looking pleased with herself. A grin or a smirk. He simpered and smirked while he talked to his boss. She simpered that she had gone all this trouble for no reason. Okay, simper. Where's my page? I'm trying to learn a new word from a good writer. They simper from talk show sofas about those nasty far-right bigots who don't want penises swinging around the girls' showers, secure in the knowledge that their private pool remains the safe place that it always was. What is happening to my Rumble feed? This is so weird. Man, oh man, is it kind of weird. Okay, back here. Yep. Those who've benefited most from gender ideology are men, both trans-identified and not. Some have been rewarded for having a cross-dressing kink by access to all spaces previously reserved for women. And look, it's often been acknowledged. It's often been accused. It's often been said. You know, there's a lot of gay dudes that are hanging out with one of the girls. Oh, girl, let's change. Here, change your tops. And, you know, they get access to all of this stuff because, oh, he's just one of the girls. Is he? Is he going topless and bottomless around him, and they're definitely soaking it all up. There's been thoughts on that topic before. J.K. Rowling says some have been rewarded for having a cross-dressing kink by access to all spaces previously reserved for women. Others have parlayed their delicious new victim status into an excuse to threaten, assault, and harass women. Yeah, it's like a lot of these people in this movement have a female bullying kink. They like to bully 14-year-old girls, like the video that I showed you to start. Bullying females. They have a bullying female kink. Non-trans identified lefty bros have found a magnificent platform from which to display their own impeccably progressive credentials by jeering and sneering at the needs of women and girls, all while patting themselves on the back for giving away rights that aren't theirs. The actual victims in this mess have been women and children, especially the most vulnerable, gay people who've resisted the movement and paid a horrible price, and regular people working in environments where one misplaced pronoun could see you vilified or constructively dismissed. Do not tell me this is about a tiny minority. This movement has impacted society in disastrous ways, and if you had any sense, you'd be quietly deleting every trace of activist mantras, ad hominem attacks, false equivalents, and circular arguments from your X feeds, because the day is fast approaching when you'll want to pretend you always saw through the craziness and never believed it for a second. It's about protecting our kids from transgender ideology. Bravo, JK. Bravo. I saw this earlier. This is kind of weird. I don't know who this guy is. Owen Schroyer talking to, who's this guy? Saying this guy is named Destiny. I think I've seen him a couple times. I've never seen him make sense. Why is this guy a thing? But here's a debate or something, and man, it doesn't go well for him.
There's no policies. We don't get to have
He says Trump has no policies.
policy debate in the United States anymore because instead we're talking about fictitious hurricane machines that are being spun up so that Biden or Harris can steal the lithium deposits from North Carolina.
Are you denying that there are weather modification programs? Of course there are. There are multiple patents for weather modification. I have attended government hearings in the state of Texas, the Texas Weather Modification Program. That is a government program. Anybody can go to these meetings. They even publish the chemicals they spray. Lithium, barium, aluminum, amongst others. Bill Gates goes out and talks about how we can blot out the sun to stop global warming. They've done mainstream news hits like on CBS with Professor Kariakou about weather machines. China has giant weather machines where they pump water vapor into the atmosphere to cause rain. This is public information. This isn't up for debate. And you notice how he hangs his head when I talk about this. So here we are again. Who's denying facts? So they misrepresent it. They call a hurricane machine to deflect off the fact that there are government weather modifications programs. Now, you want to talk about conspiracy theories? Did they make this hurricane worse? Did they not? I don't know. I don't claim to believe that. But again, there are lithium mines right over where Hurricane Helene hit the mainland. That is a fact. I'm not making anything up. That is a direct fact.
Trump has no policies. We don't get to have
You know, I'm not seeing that my feed is still continuing on X or on Rumble. I'm very confused with what's happening here. It looks like it cut off after 40 minutes. I don't understand why at all. Where is that final channel? Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Something weird has been happening, and I don't... Yeah, Rumble cut off. All right. What the hell? Now I got to upload it to Rumble again. It says it's live, but it's not live. This is so strange. Okay, now it's showing that it's not live. It went 40 minutes and it stopped. Anyway, yes, weather manipulation is obvious. Mr. Burns tried to block out the sun, remember. Alan saying, Lynn, that Chinese lady, he said her arms were too small. Wasn't she the one who was questioning Kamala on where did all the money go? Yeah, I'm not super familiar with her. I'm kind of learning. I've seen a couple clips start floating around recently, so maybe. Yeah, I guess she worked with the Bidens. That's what I was getting from that clip, and now she's speaking out against them. Hey, leftists, leave those kids alone. Semper Fi. Semper Fi. Semper Fi. Simps usually means something else. But yeah, all you got to do is walk outside and look up. Things are different. This is a classic clip. I happened to see this while I was scrolling. If you've never seen it, this is a Florida man who shot at a Walmart delivery drone with a pistol, citing past issues with neighbors flying drones over his property. The police put handcuffs on him, and he jokes.
Well, no, we have...
We've been fine. There's no issues. We're not,
Yeah.
Just let me know if it's too tight, all right?
Yeah.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
He jokes, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. I'm pretty sure we've seen this one. This is Caroline Levitt.
What are the tax priorities of the Trump administration?
Yeah, I did share this one earlier. Just to go through this from Upward News, 10 crazy things USAID spent your tax dollars on. 2 million sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. 1.5 advancing DEI in Serbia workplaces. $70K for a DEI musical in Ireland. 47 for a trans opera. Yeah, we've been through this. 32,000 for a trans comic book in Peru. Center of Climate Positive Development. nonprofit linked to designated terror organizations. That's great. Hundreds of thousands. Personalized contraceptives. Okay, what does that mean? Irrigation canals, farming equipment, and fertilizer so that we could support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, which benefits the Taliban. We're all seeing this, right? We're all kind of seeing this, right? This should make you mad. David Harris Jr. sharing this. This is Nancy Mace talking about taxpayer-funded animal cruelty. Remember when Fauci was torturing beagles? These people are monsters.
Good afternoon. Late last year, the White Coat Waste Project exposed more than $10 million in taxpayer funds that were spent creating transgender mice, rats, and monkeys. These DEI grants funded painful and deadly transgender experiments that forced lab animals to undergo invasive surgeries and hormone therapies at universities across the country. For example, the Biden-Harris administration spent $2.5 million taxpayer dollars, $2.5 million taxpayer dollars to study the fertility of transgender mice. Let that sink in. We spent over $2 million studying the fertility of transgender mice. $1.1 million was spent to find out if female rats receiving testosterone therapies to mimic transgender men were more likely to overdose on a party drug, commonly used in the LGBTQ community to induce drug-fueled what's called, quote, chemsex. I asked my staff what was chemsex and the chemical, and I guess it's something called GHB, which is a date rape drug, and also a drug that's used recreationally. So we spent over $1 million to find out if female rats receiving testosterone therapy were more likely to overdose on a date rape drug. Like, that's what your taxpayer dollars were being spent on. Good afternoon. Late last year, the White Coat...
Yeah, so make it make sense. Trying to create transgender mice, rats, and monkeys. It's Frankenstein stuff. What are you doing? Why are you damaging these animals? Don't do that. Here's Do Not Comply. Shared this from them. It's the IRS Customer Service Center. IRS staff seeing Elon walk through the door.
Oh, motherfucker, we're fucked now, ain't we?
You are.
I told you, Jake.
I don't know. It just made me laugh. This is breaking. Representative Maxine Waters sharing this from Benny Johnson. And other Democrat Congress members are staging an insurrection at the Department of Education over Trump and Elon Musk, but they're getting the door slammed in their faces.
Do they know that we are here? Max, ask the question again. That's important.
Were you told, are you making this decision to stand in front of this door on your own behalf, on behalf of the Department of Education, or were you told to come out here and block members of Congress from going to the desk?
I'm doing my job.
So everybody's what is that? We're doing our jobs. We're trying to save you.
It's a non-responsive.
Show them your ID. Were you told to stand here, or did you decide to stand here and block members of Congress from entering the Department of Education?
To federal buildings.
We're allowed in there.
So a private security contractor
Do you know who members of Congress are?
members of
We're
Congress.
all members of Congress. Maybe he doesn't understand. Do you
A private
understand who
security
members of Congress
contractor
are?
is making the decision to block members of Congress from a public access entrance.
I don't think he knows.
You have the authority as a private security contractor to block members of Congress. That has been knighted and granted to you. You have to at least let us go to the desk.
Yeah. Still in the goons out. Oh my, look at that.
Who told you to do this? Open the door.
I see you now. So do you understand who members of Congress are?
I got it, yeah.
Well, and you don't care. Who are we then?
I got the job right there.
You don't.
Who are we then? Oh, you're people about ready to go to jail is who you are.
We have a job to do.
We're not dangerous people. We're not, I don't know, we're members security.
There are no thieves and thugs out here. We're members of Congress. We're parents. We're teachers.
Each of the
There's our ID, right there.
We were elected
Hold on, is that a Democrat showing an ID? Oh, come on, that's rich.
to do this.
This is our job.
This is our job. We're doing our job.
Oh wow.
You're securing this building against who?
Members of Congress. Who are you
The people.
protecting in
It's
this?
members of the people's
So
house.
this is the beginning of full transparency of this administration.
That's right.
The administration that talked about they're going to open the doors to all of these things and show the American public what is going on. They won't even open the door to this building, to members of Congress.
Why? So you can go you can go delete files and have a file shredding party? Nah.
We are not posing any threat here.
Not
No, we are not
whatsoever.
dangerous people. We have not
They
done
won't even
anything.
let us
We're
talk to
trying
the
to
Department of
request
Education.
a meeting, and they have a private security contractor who on his own is making decisions on behalf of the Department of Education.
So Congressman Hayes, what you're saying is they allow billionaires and his minions to come in
I don't
to
know
this
who
building.
he is. I don't know who he is, but I know who I
they
am.
allow-
And I'm a member of Congress with oversight responsibilities trying to request a meeting, and a private security contractor is not allowing me to enter the building.
They allow billionaires to go in this building, but not the people's representatives. They allow billionaires and cronies to go in, but not. There's a lack of transparency here.
All right, whatever. You see what's going on. You get the gist of it. This is from Muckraking Media. All the stuff is this showing? Yep. Okay, that fits on the screen. All the stuff we researched was right. Think about that for a second. We literally dismantled an ancient mob of elite psychos with memes and shit talking. You're smarter than you realize and braver than you feel. Don't let people manipulate you into thinking anything else. Man, that's good. Leading report says South Carolina AG Alan Wilson says a coalition of 17 state attorneys general will investigate Anthony Fauci's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. They covered up his complicity. They covered up him funding it. They covered up how much he was making on every dose that he sold. And I think you can go after him on state charges. And Lord willing, this guy is going to spend the rest of his life. Comma, ... Breaking, Senator Marsha Blackburn once again requesting a subpoena for the unredacted Epstein flight logs. Derek Evans, good point. Can you name one thing Democrats are actually good at? Mrs. Muckraker says, laundering money. Gateway Pundit reporting that Elon Musk says his Doge team uncovered $100 billion in Medicare and Medicaid waste after gaining access to the system. Oh, just wait till you get into Medicare, Medicaid. Breaking, Trump administration. Well, we told you the tax policies. 1/3 of this is by Unusual Whales. 1/3 of 8th grade students scored below basic in reading, more than ever in the history of the nation's report card assessment per CNN. 1/3 of 8th graders can't read. They're below basic. Fix this. This is about Tren de Aragua and leaking that, Tom Homan. Sanctuary city mayors are going to testify at the House Oversight Committee after Attorney General Bondi cuts them off from federal funds. Oh, let's go. Elizabeth Warren, boo-hoo. It's a good point here. If you can give an 18-year-old kid a rifle and send him off to fight your wars, you damn sure can give him a computer and let him audit the government. You're letting a 19-year-old? Me? You mean a 20-year-old? Yeah, that's what hackers are. That's what computer people are. That's what researchers are. I have no problem with that. Zero problem. I would let an 80-year-old do it, an 18-year-old do it. If you can discover fraud, let's go. Marco Rubio here. He's saying that Secretary of State Marco Rubio talking about foreign aid. This isn't my money. This is taxpayer money. We're not going to eliminate foreign aid. We're going to have foreign aid that makes sense. We're going to have foreign aid that furthers the national interest. So they're ending U.S. aid, but they're going to have to do something about some other stuff. It's just the way it's been scrambled together. It was intentionally deceptive so that they could loot and plunder as much as possible. Representative Thomas Massey shared from the Asher Press. I'm concerned that the House and Senate will fully fund U.S. aid in March, just like we did in December. I voted no. The argument from Republican leadership will be that they need Democrat votes to pass an omnibus or CR bill to avoid a government shutdown. Connor says, if they still manage to fund it after the exposure Doge has given us, then Congress is indeed beyond repair. Thomas Massey replies, Thomas Massey, who follows the New American Media, by the way. Thank you, Mr. Massey. Appreciate you. The current Congress is beyond repair. We need people to start paying more attention, to get more accurate information, and to vote accordingly at the ballot box. The question becomes, can Congress be repaired by voters at the ballot box? Doge is on a collision course with the Uniparty. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm here for it. Literally here for it. Yeah, that guy needs a raise. A lot of people need raises, and a lot of people need to be fired. And now we just got to figure out the difference. All right. Well, that's pretty much what I had on tap for today's program. Thank you for joining me, Alan, Kenneth, everybody else lurking in the background, and the people that were watching on Rumble until Rumble stopped after 40 minutes. I don't understand what happened. I need to contact their customer support and figure out what in the what. But thank you so much for joining us. Is there any story that I missed that I need to get to before I go? Let me ask you that. Is there anything that I missed that I needed to talk about? What's trending? Democrats denied entry at Education Department. Trump. Oh, I didn't do the Trump straw story. Yeah. Here, let me share this. Where am I at? Share this one with you on X. By the way, Democrats in Congress didn't seem to mind that China was given remote access to every workstation in the Treasury as recently as December. Do you know that? Oh, Tucker's at the White House. Rob Reiner got USAID money for pre-election anti-Trump propaganda movie? Oh, okay. I did not know that. Charlie Kirk is saying at a protest against Trump's executive orders that were targeting child mutilation procedures on minors, this actress Cynthia Nixon reveals that her daughter is transgender, her niece is transgender, her best friend's child is transgender, her daughter's best friend is transgender. Her life is filled with transgender people, young and old, but especially young. Charlie Kirk saying that President Trump is saving American children from one of the most destructive social contagions in human history. You got to protect the kids. You got to protect the kids. This is just a friendly reminder from Liz Churchill. BLM burned down cities. BLM was funded by USAID, and BLM was supported by politicians. This just keeps coming up. Having a Caucasians t-shirt. I'm wondering how long we said it. A sports team called the Caucasians would be awesome. Let's set the over-under on 3 years before a minor league baseball team actually goes for it. Ron DeSantis announcing an agreement with ICE on illegal immigration enforcement, as expected. And here you go. This post elicited Elon to say, greatest president ever. Donald Trump says, I will be signing an executive order next week, ending the ridiculous Biden push for paper straws, which don't work. Back to plastic. And we said, Donald Trump is officially the common sense president. And here's another exciting news due to my executive order, which I proudly signed yesterday. The NCAA has officially changed its policy of allowing men and women's sports. It's now banned. This is a great day for women and girls across the country. Men should have never been allowed to compete against women in the first place, but I'm proud to be the president to save women's sports. We expect the Olympics Committee to also use common sense and implement this policy, which is very popular among American people in the entire world. And with that, I'm going to wrap today's show up. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Follow the New American Media everywhere. We'll be back again as soon as possible, maybe even tomorrow. Appreciate you.